everybody. Good morning. Welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. LSU fires Will Wade. We did jump on and do an emergency live video yesterday. For those of you that joined us, thank you. If you didn't, you can catch that. We did it on YouTube, but I posted the link on Facebook also. So I wanted to give some just immediate reaction to the news. And boy, what a time to do it. Just the day before Selection Sunday. If you haven't seen the notice of allegations, again, it's important to point out that it's a notice of allegations. It's not things that are proven yet. It's the NCAA's notice to LSU that this is what they were alleging happened. There's some things in there which are ridiculous, like Will Wade allegedly paying players out of his own personal checking account, which, if that's the case, it certainly seems like there would be a paper trail. They detailed an incident where Will Wade was blackmailed by a former player's fiance. All stuff which is not good, and I think stuff that shouldn't surprise anybody, right? I think we all knew, everybody knew that, paid players, and it's how it goes. I don't think anybody ever denied that or was naive enough to think nothing happened. I think the bigger question for LSU fans throughout the whole thing has been, why are you pointing the finger at us and not everybody else? And other schools have done the same thing and aren't getting as much criticism. Why? And that just led for this really bullish support of Wade. And then, of course, he won. And then the timing of this is the other thing. The day before Selection Sunday and the letter LSU put out yesterday, which I want to get into a little bit. We did yesterday on the emergency live. We did, but the timing of it is, to do it the day before Selection Sunday is just stupid. It doesn't. It just illustrates that all along this was the inevitable end. Scott Woodward was going to do this the first opportunity he had. Collateral damage be damned. This was always going to be the end result. Will wasn't his guy, and he was going to move on as soon as he had a chance. But don't put in a letter that you're doing what's best for the players, and firing the coach the day before Selection Sunday is not what's best for your team. Give this team an opportunity to go make a run, and then deal with the stuff later. So anyway, and then they have the audacity. I say they because it was Scott Woodward and William Tate who signed the letter that was released to LSU fans yesterday. You have the audacity to say this is not an admission that what's in the NOA is, or an acceptance of the allegations. So you're basically saying you're not acknowledging that everything in this NOA is legit, but we're going to go ahead and fire our coach anyway because of this cloud of negativity. Bro, there's been a cloud of negativity for 3 years. You could have fired Will Wade 3 years ago. The day Scott Woodward was hired, he could have fired Will Wade. Didn't. You want to know why? Because he was coming off an SEC championship in the Sweet 16. Anyway. All right, let's say some good mornings, see what y'all got. It is Selection Sunday, by the way, so we're going to find out where. That's the point, right? lost in all this now is that today is Selection Sunday, and the current team is going to be in the NCAA tournament and have a chance to go make a run, but you've just neutered that possibility. All right. Deborah Coward, Kirk Taylor, Glenda Blanchard, Kelly Presley, Richard Dukin, good morning. Who's next? We can get into that. John Bro, good morning. I like Wade. I'm glad the cloud has been lifted. Woodward will make a great hire. He's going to have a tough job making this hire, which we'll get to here in a second. Hong Tam Win, good morning. It's going to be all right. Going to be all right. We'll see. Brennan Kluka, good morning. Eric Barnett, Jeff McKithen, Warren Beasley, Brian Geraci. LSU wanted to spring forward with their athletics program. You know, man, that's the tough part about this morning, too, man. Also, you get the spring forward. Everybody lost an hour of sleep. A little groggy today. Randy Dabdoob, good morning. Kirk, NCAA got their pound of flesh. They did. John Morris, LSU basketball needed a change. But, John, you say that, and I would flip it around and say, why? Despite the allegations, the cloud, and everything, Will was still recruiting at an exceptionally high level. And, I think LSU did a poor job of supporting their coach in the midst of everything. They didn't try to put out positive narratives ever about Will Wade. Ryan, Amanda Guidry, Blake Morgan, this is terrible, Matt. Blake Oob, Brian Wynn, Douglas Duhan. Does LSU announce they would draw from the tourney? I haven't heard anyone associated with LSU discuss that possibility. And I don't know why they would. Some are saying, well, what about like a self-imposed tournament ban, postseason ban sort of thing? I don't believe that's the case. So, no, I haven't heard that from anyone. I don't know why you would at this point. Does the committee use Wade's firing as an excuse to make us an 8 seed? Maybe. Or maybe because he's gone, they actually bump LSU up a line. We'll find out today. I didn't think they'd be an 8 seed last year, and they were. Chuck Bro, Dick Vitale has to be ecstatic. Did y'all see the headline on Pat Forty's column? This is, I lost a lot of respect for Pat Forty throughout this entire thing. And I used to like Pat a lot. I think he's a talented writer. But he got so, here's the column. The greasy grifter, Will Wade, is finally gone, and in humiliating fashion. But while LSU was enabling him for years, others were paying the price. Now it's LSU's turn. Like, I would kind of like to open hand slap him in the mouth. Like, if I saw him in the face, I might do that. I defy you. Somebody find me a Pat Forty column about the goings-on at Auburn, Kansas, the Zion stuff at Duke, where he came even close to using that type of verbiage. I mean, when you do that, there's a FedEx truck that just went speeding past my house, probably about 40, 45 miles an hour. It's 25 on the street. Anyway, there's the last thing before you. There's not an ounce of objectivity in 40 with all of that. And I understand, listen, as a columnist, your job is to give opinions. But he crossed that line because he's also a reporter, so he was reporting on these allegations throughout. And it's not so much taking issue with Will Wade or LSU. I think there's a lot of people that did that. Anyway. All right, so who's next? A lot of people have asked that. I think this is the big problem that Scott Woodward has on his hands. So first of all, LSU basketball is not a blue blood program. We all know that. Okay, it's not. It's not a job where coaches are going to line up to take your job. It's certainly not a job where you're going to pluck a successful coach from a top, a top 10 or 15 job to come to Baton Rouge. Not happening. You're not going to have the Brian Kelly scenario at LSU basketball. Mark, it's official. You've joined the Get Off My Lawn group because of the FedEx guy. No, that pisses me off because we live in a residential area and people speed up and down the street all the time. It's dangerous because there's kids on the street. Like, that's not Get Off My Lawn. There's a reason that speed limit is posted the way it is in this neighborhood. Anyway. So who's next? The biggest name, the most obvious name that people are going to throw out is Scott Drew. It would fit the profile of Scott Woodward hires, right? I mean, Scott Drew won a national championship at Baylor. His dad is Homer Drew, who was obviously a longtime assistant at LSU under Dale Brown. He was at Valpo, we all know, and then after being at Valpo as an assistant and head coach for a couple of years, has been at Baylor since 2003. He inherited an awful situation at Baylor with the Dave Bliss scandal, and has done quite well at Baylor since, and they've been patient with him. I mean, he's been there since 2003, so he's been there, how many seasons does that amount to? 1, 2, 19. This is 19th year at Baylor. So, and you finally got a national championship last year. So, I think you make that call, but why would Scott Drew leave the program that he's built for the last 19 years, won a national championship, to come to Baton Rouge to take over a program that's very likely facing serious sanctions that isn't a blue. If it were Kentucky, sure, because it's still Kentucky. If it were Duke, Carolina, or Kansas, UCLA, yes, because it's still those programs. LSU is not any of those programs or anything remotely close to it. So I don't even know how you get a major coach like that to even answer the phone. So you could go the mid-major route, which is likely what you'd have to do, but that's the coach you just had and you just fired. Had somebody yesterday mention to me Matt McMahon from Murray State. Had a lot of success there at Murray State. Would he entertain it? Maybe. And had someone else mention Kelvin Sampson. I don't know if that's the route you want to go. 66-year-old coach who's had success. I mean, look, he's got Oklahoma #1 in the country with Buddy Hield. Went to Indiana. Obviously, he got popped for NCAA violations, got a show cause. He's done really well at Houston. He's a great coach. All that stuff is very true. But I think we also got to realize if you're hiring a coach here, so with juice, you're replacing. Browns give Jarvis Landry permission to seek a trade. Okay. Anyway, okay. Jeremy Thibodeau, so why is it so personal between the sports media and Will Wade? I don't think it's the sports media. I think it's a select few who have chosen to carry this flag for 4 years, and Pat Forty is one of them. Pat Forty, Pat Forty went hard after Will Wade in 2019, right? Whenever the whole thing broke with the wiretap. And because he's sort of zeroed in on Wade and then LSU retained him, there became this feud between Forty and LSU fans, the LSU fan base, mostly on social media. But I think it goes to show how weak-minded Pat was in that situation. Like he obviously allowed what fans on Twitter said to him bother him, and I think it only fueled the fire for him with this story even more. So to answer the point, I don't think it's the sports media and Will Wade. I think there are some in the media that have sort of just carried this banner, if that makes sense. Jamie Rodri, good morning. All right, Tim Gotro, hey, Brandon, good morning. D, Snuts, John Melanson, what's up? Morning, Matt, I'm still sad. Cliff Nelson, what's up? Yeah, do me a favor if you would, YouTube, smash that like button. 142 watching, 44 likes if you would. I'd appreciate that. And if you're new, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's where we go live. Strong side, Matt Plavidal, hire Daddy Dale back. I got a message from someone basically criticizing Dale Brown in this instance. I want to be abundantly clear because I know for a brief time anyway, well, no, I'll just go ahead and say it. I mean, it was Jordy who accused Dale Brown of being the one that leaked stuff about Will Wade. That is, Jordy did since retract and apologize, and it's been some time. So if anyone is still, and by the way, I'm not trying to get in the middle of that at all. I have no commentary whatsoever on that. But I just want to set the record straight, because if anyone is still, like, because someone mentioned Dale Brown there, if anyone is still thinking that Dale Brown had anything whatsoever to do with this, that's fundamentally absurd. I mean, first of all, Dale Brown hates the NCAA. I don't know why we'd do anything in any way to assist the NCAA in anything. So that's not factual. Apollo Balboa, let's see. Morning, Matt. Is it a bad look for the state for all the talking heads to be defending Wade coming off as he is the victim, is winning everything? I don't think it's a bad look for the state. And who's defending Will Wade? I mean, I want to say this again. I'm going to say this again. And I've said it for 4 years now. I'm going to say on my show, here, every radio interview I've done, when people ask me about it, I have always said, I am not absolving Will Wade of anything. I am not saying nothing happened. And clearly, if there is in fact a long list, there is a long list of allegations against him, and if LSU feels like it's best that their program move on for whatever variety of reasons, okay, like, I can understand that. There's consequences to your actions. I can understand that. My problem is the way that LSU has handled this is they've basically supported their guy for 3 years, and they did so fraudulently, because it was very clear with the news yesterday that as soon as Scott Woodward got that NOA, he was going to fire Will Wade. And so now you dump on him and talk about the cloud of negativity around the program. Like, all of that's been the case for 3 years. Like, you could have done this 3 years ago. So what I would have preferred from LSU yesterday is this. What I would have preferred in the statement is this. I would have preferred for Scott Woodward, William Tate in the statement to say, we received a notice of allegations from the NCAA. Based on the findings in this NOA, we do not feel it's responsible to continue. We were willing to be patient to see what the investigation found. The investigation lasted a long amount of time. Upon reading the allegations in the NOA, we no longer feel like we can proceed with Will Wade as our head basketball coach. He's been terminated for cause, and we will begin the search for a new coach immediately. Boom. I would have preferred that. I would have preferred that to say, we were willing to wait to this moment, and now that it's here and we read what's in there, we can't proceed any longer. Okay, I may not agree, but I can live with that. But the way they sort of took this circuitous route around what actually is going on to try to convince us that it's this noble act, that it's in the best interest of the student athletes, and the shroud of negativity became too heavy and crap. There's been a cloud of negativity over this program for 3 years. And you can't tell me that firing the coach the day before Selection Sunday is in the best interest of your student athletes. And then the kicker is, in the letter, in the freaking letter, they say this is not an, but I want to read it. I'm going to read it exactly. Hang on. They basically say, we're not saying we agree with the NOA. I want to read it exactly. Hang on. They say, notably, our decision to terminate Coach Wade and Coach Armstrong is not an acknowledgement of agreement with any of the allegations. The university will determine its position on the allegations after an exhaustive and objective examination of the relevant facts and applicable NCAA regulations. So they're not saying we agree. They're not saying we agree with everything in there. They're saying we're going to take what's in there and we'll examine what they've presented us. Anyway, the day before the NCAA tournament. Shane O'Mac, Cliff Nelson, I think Wade's defiance at the beginning of all this has a lot to do with why this is coming down on him and LSU. But Cliff, it's not just Wade, right? I mean, like, LSU supported him. You know, they reinstated him. Like, the clean thing to do would have been, as soon as that wiretap was made public, as soon as everybody heard Will Wade's voice on that wiretap, that they fired him. That would have been the clean thing to do, the clean break, the thing that would have allowed LSU just to rip the Band-Aid off and move on. But they didn't, because they were just coming off a year where they won the SEC and they made the Sweet 16, and you had this great recruiting class coming in, and LSU didn't want to fire their very successful young coach who was winning. So LSU was quite content to keep collecting gate receipts and packing the PMAC and booting up and putting Will Wade in a general outfit and promoting the program and everything. They were certainly content to do that over the last 3 years. So it's not just that Will Wade was defiant. I mean, they supported him. Brett Dagro. Yeah, I mean, y'all are asking about LSU turning down a tournament bid. I can't say definitively one way or another. I just haven't had anybody associate, and I talked to a lot of people yesterday. I didn't have anybody say to me that LSU was turning down, a bid. And if that were the case, I think LSU would have yesterday announced they were self-imposing a postseason ban. But again, in the letter, Scott Woodward says this is not an acknowledgement of acceptance of the allegations. They're not agreeing that they did anything wrong, which is so stupid because you fired your coach. Like, of course you're agreeing you did something wrong. Yes, Brady Smith said it's not great. They're claiming lack of institutional control. So Brady, it's not necessarily that they're claiming it. If you have simultaneous level 1 violations in multiple sports, you can get popped with lack of institutional control, and that's the case with LSU. That's why for years LSU has been trying to get the NCAA to close the book on football, and it was almost done. And then Odell pulled his stunt on the field after the national championship game, where he handed out 2 G's and Benjamins, and it prolonged football. Otherwise, football would have been done already. Nick Diaz, what's up, Nick? Good morning, man. I'm legitimately worried about football getting smashed. Are you? So no. And here's it's a good question, Nick, but here's why. LSU's already, like, football was almost done. Like the whole football thing, because, and remember, LSU self-imposed scholarship restrictions. They self-imposed the bowl ban for 2020, which, by the way, I get it. It's laughable that they self-imposed a bowl ban during the during the COVID year. And I have talked to people who have acknowledged the NCAA just kind of chuckled at that notion that they were actually serious about that being a punishment. But, I mean, you still imposed a bowl ban. And it was almost done. So I don't know to what degree, level 3 violations involving Ed Ogeron, having impermissible contact with a recruit, or, the Odell stuff would allow the NCAA to hammer LSU further. I think the bigger concern is when you get popped with lack of institutional control. When you get popped with lack of institutional control, it basically opens the door for the NCAA to come investigate, to pull back the curtain on your entire athletic department. That's the problem. Now they can come in and roll up their sleeves and dig into anything. And it's like, okay, well, if you start looking, you can find something. So, Colin Smith, interesting time about the NCAA. Do other Power 5 teams go through this kind of scrutiny? Yeah, look, and I'll tell you this, Colin. I mean, there's also a detriment in cooperating. Missouri, look at the example I was given is Missouri and North Carolina. Both had academic scandals where they had, tutors who were, basically doing work for players. I'm way oversimplifying it, but just say they were similar in that respect. North Carolina did not cooperate at all. Missouri fully cooperated. North Carolina got a slap on the wrist. Missouri got pounded. So, it's not always a good idea to cooperate with the NCAA. But if you don't, and they find you did it, then they double down on punishments usually. That's what happened to Bruce Pearl. When Bruce Pearl got fired at Tennessee, he hosted a barbecue for recruits, right? Which wasn't this egregious thing, but he lied to the NCAA about it. So lying to the NCAA is what got him the show cause. That's what got fired. Murder Giraffe, good morning. Spurge, what's up? Jacob Hibbard, good morning, Matt. Never a dull moment as an LSU fan. That's true. Damon Hinderberger, with them firing Wade, do you think they withdraw from the tournament? No. Merrick, why not wait until after the tournament? Great question. That's what I'm asking. Like, I would have... So, okay, if I'm going to be critical, then a lot of you are probably saying, hey, then give me some sort of alternative. All right, so I told you what I would have liked for that letter to say. Here's from Wade and Tate. Here's what I would like for them to have done. In the letter, Woodward says, Tate, whatever. Notably, our decision to terminate Wade and Armstrong is not an acknowledgement of agreement with the allegations. The university will determine its positions on the allegations after an exhaustive and objective examination of the relevant facts. Okay, take a week, a month, whatever. Season ends, things calm down. It's not as loud around the program anymore or the sport because it's the off season. And then you could say, listen, we've conducted our search. We agree with these findings. Here's our response with this amount of findings. Here's our response to the NCAA. As a result, we are going to terminate Coach Wade, if that's what they wanted to do. But if you're Scott Woodward and you know you're going to fire your coach, What do you, if you know you're going to fire your coach, what do you have to do? Hire a new coach. So you need to get a new coach in place to go recruit and get ready for next season. So you're not going to wait until the summer to do that. Greg T's asking about the current commits. I don't know what's going to happen. They have 2 signees and 1 commitment. But in light of the NOA, my assumption is if those players wanted to get out of their letter of intent, they could. Jackson Carter, back to an empty PMAC. Long live General Wade. Taz, good morning. Ridiculous how LSU handled this. Wasn't fair to the kids on the team. I agree. Elite Goods, what's up? Bobby, good morning. From maybe winning a championship within 5 years to lucky to make the tournament in 5. Well, let's see who they hire first before you make that determination. Let's see what NCAA punishments come down as a result. Brandy, good morning. Brett, 40 is a prime example of what's wrong with journalism in America. It's why America doesn't trust the mainstream media. You know, what's happened so much, Brett, is there's in the modern day of media has forced everybody to be an opinion maker, right? Even if you are a reporter and your job is to investigate and report news, reporters are now essentially asked to be opinion makers. I mean, like I'm looking at ESPN and I think of people like Yamina Kimes and Pablo Torre, and they just had Jeremy Fowler on Fowler's a great example. Okay, so Jeremy Fowler is a reporter. He's a reporter. He's a guy that covers a team, who covers the coaches and the players and breaks news about it. Well, he's on ESPN doing an opinion segment. Well, so there's that crossover there now because media has become so vast on all these different platforms. So the lines are blurred, you know, where Pat Forty's a columnist, but he's also breaking news. Well, how credible is he as a news reporter when it's pretty clear he has firmly rooted and seated opinions on the matter? It's hard to trust him to be objective, right? That's the problem. Alan Hurd, good morning. Are you more annoyed by the way LSU responded or the way the NCAA released it yesterday? I think I knew the way it would end shows why the NCAA should be gutted. Am I more annoyed by both? Yeah, I mean, the NCAA issuing the NOA the week of Selection Sunday it's just so obvious. Like, it couldn't be more obvious what they're doing. I mean, that was a complete attempt to poke LSU in the eye and flip Will Wade the middle finger. I mean, to do it, a 3-year investigation, and it just so happens to wrap up. It just so happens that you issue that NOA amazingly, 4 days before Selection Sunday. Stunning how that happened. What are the odds? Merrick, how is E-Rock handling the Will Wade news? Not good. She was upset yesterday. I got a lot of crying emojis. Let's see. All right, jump back to Facebook here. Sorry, guys, I'm going back and forth, YouTube, Facebook, so be patient with me. I'll get to all the comments. As always, shout out to Brock, y'all, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, brortho.com. If you need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. They're the best. After Hours Clinic is open today, so find yourself in need of an orthopedist, bypass the ER, get to Brock, brortho.com, and, of course, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Go ahead and pin the link. Beautiful day. I saw on the HUDCO social media today, there was a quote from JFK which said, "The best time to replace the roof is when when the sun is shining," which is very true. You don't want to try to replace your roof when it's storming and there's water getting in the house. So take care of that business now. Let us come do a free, no obligation roofing inspection. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Okay. Dale Broussard, they don't agree with the allegations, but fire him with cause. How do you square that? They're not, well, Dale, they're not saying they disagree. They're just saying, as of now, we're not acknowledging acceptance of these allegations. Because they're saying there's a cloud of negativity. And honestly, Dale, they have cause with the wiretap. Whether anything's proven or not, they have cause with the wiretap. But so they could have fired him 3 years ago. Like, that's the perplexing thing. It's like, why walk so far down this road if you knew this was an inevitability? That's the thing that bothers me the most about it. It's not that they made the decision to fire Wade. Again, there are consequences to actions. He was careless. A lot of places cheat. A lot of places pay players. There were many other schools involved in this very investigation. I'm not, I've said so many times, a lot of places cheat. Will Wade was careless. Will Wade was the one on the wiretap. If you look at the NOA, they're saying Will Wade was paying players out of his own personal checking account. Like, he was careless. He left a paper trail. I mean, so there are consequences. I also don't care. I don't care one iota that LSU paid players or if anybody pays players. I've been the guy that's the most bullish on NIL, right? I mean, if you follow along, I've always said, so I don't care that any of the allegations or violations, I don't care about it. I don't care about Odell giving dudes $100 bills. I don't care about, getting no-show job for parents. I don't care. These aren't crimes. These are NCAA violations in a rule book that's as big as an encyclopedia. They're stupid. It's the funny part about it to me, y'all, is I was thinking about this yesterday. Universally, the NCAA is hated, right? That's one thing every fan of every team agrees upon is we all hate the NCAA. Yet, when the NCAA throws the rule book to pop your rival or another school, you side with the NCAA to point the finger at that school. So wait a minute. I thought we all hated the NCAA. Anyway, I went on a tangent there. Let me know what I was saying. Ben Guillot, why would they name an interim coach if they aren't going to play in the tournament? Exactly. Thank you. Good point. Of course they're going to play in the tournament. But they also have to recruit and things like that, continue recruiting and stuff. So, but yes, John DeRoche, good morning. Denny Landry. Hey, Dad, good morning. Brian Broom. Craig Duga, Pat 40 makes seafood gumbo with Chinese crawfish and imported shrimp. Yes, Ross Thompson, Oklahoma State's another example of the detriment of cooperating with the NCAA. Brian Madare, 4 down. Woody's cleaning up the poop show in the Red Stick that lasted over a decade. Hey, I'm going to tell you, man, Brian, this does further illustrate how bad Joe Oliva was at his job. I mean, think about it. Ed Ogeron, Will Wade, Nicky Fargas, in a span of 11 months, Scott Woodward has replaced the four major head coaches. Football, baseball, women's basketball, now men's basketball. 11 months, 4 coaches. 11 months. I was trying to think, I was having a conversation with a colleague yesterday. The last time I can remember that, like the tightest period would have been like from early '05 when Les was hired to '08, because you had Saban out, Les in, Smoke out after '06. Pokey obviously got fired, and then John Brady got fired in '08. So, like, in that time from, like, January '05 when Les was hired to '08, to spring of '08 is the time period where you replaced all four. That's, like, the narrowest scope of replacing all four. I mean, and Scott Woodward's done it in 11 months. Ben Giat, how much do you think NIL can play a part in a player decommitting due to a coach leaving? I don't understand. Like, if there's NIL money, would the player stay? Maybe. Jeremy Thibodeau, Jason Austin, you don't think Woodward has done his homework and already knows the punishment coming from the NCAA, but wants to get out in front of it and get the coach he wants? Jason, of course he wants to get out and get the coach he wants. My point, and that's fine. I've said that all along. Like, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Of course, Scott Woodward knew this was an inevitability. It's why when they reinstated Will Wade, they put this clause in. And now, judging by the timing of how quickly he did it, of course this was always going to be his plan. And knowing that, of course, he's got his list of candidates that he wants in place. And yes, I'm certain they've had conversations with the NCAA about what types of punishments would be acceptable or not. Of course. But the way that they're handling it publicly is a red herring. Don't tell me it's about doing what's right for the student athlete and you're fired because of the cloud of negativity and we're not agreeing with the, like, don't BS me. That's the problem I have. That's the problem I have. And the timing of it as well, to do it the day before Selection Sunday, bothers me. Like, because you're not doing what's best for your student athletes. This isn't about a shroud or cloud of negativity over the program, because that's existed for 3 years. Don't tell me like that's something that's new. That's the problem that I have. Ross Thompson, who's your first call? I mean, I'm good with him calling Scott Drew. I mean, he's going to laugh at you and hang up the phone, but call Scott Drew. Nick Oquin, why is Mark Emmert such a scumbag to LSU when we got him to where he is through saving paying recruits? I don't think Mark Emmert's a scumbag to LSU. I mean, this went from the NCAA enforcement to the independent review panel. I mean, this goes so much deeper than one guy, who, by the way, Emmert's daughter is married to Scott Woodward's son. So I think those conversations around Thanksgiving will be interesting. Huey Lipsy, Mr. Scone. Sad day for LSU. Hopefully we survive the NCAA sanctions. I agree. They'll survive. I mean, LSU won't be the first program to face sanctions, obviously, and we'll have the resources to make it through. Who's your first call? Nick Kirk. You got Nick Nolte. Let's see. Bobby, it's going to be decades till LSU lucks up and finds a coach as good or better as Wade. Hopefully Scott Woodward knows what he's doing, what he's looking for in a basketball coach, and can convince the right guy to take the job. But I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a tough sell. This will be a tough sell for whoever takes this job. Brian Penton, good morning. Ryan Rogers, please don't take Scott Drew too. Sincerely, Baylor fans. Would you offer Mark Jackson the job? I don't know. I mean, Mark Jackson did a good job in the NBA. It's interesting that he hasn't gotten back into coaching in the NBA. I don't know if he wants to coach college, and I'd almost be more inclined to hire a mid-major coach and give them the opportunity to step up. You've seen coaches do that with success. If it's Will Wade, Nate Oates, Brad Underwood, I mean, there's a lot of guys that have been able to make that transition. You just got to find the right one. Jackson Carter, do you ever see Wade back in the SEC? Maybe, but it'll be a long time. I think someone asked, what does Wade do next? Yeah, probably coach professional basketball. I mean, I gave the example of Donnie Tyndall. I think Donnie Tyndall got a show cause when coached, I think, in the G League for a while. Now he's back coaching, I think, junior college basketball. But there's a way back in. It'll be a long process, but there's a way back in for Wade if he wants it, or he can just go coach professionally. Rob Boudreaux never saw too much Woody, kept his mouth shut and let it play out. Tommy Poole, good morning. Colin Smith took Drew 19 years to win a natty. Not sure they go after him. And he inherited an awful situation and is still a national championship winning coach, and that was a year ago. Come on, bro. Like, that would be a no doubt grand slam home run. Living Lambo, nobody bats 100%. I think somebody bats 1,000, but anyway. I really don't understand how people at LSU could read the statement and say, yeah, let's go with that. Right. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know who wrote it and how they all collectively looked at that and thought, yep, this is it. Colin Smith, if they go that route, might as well be a mid-major coach that has more upside. Rob Boudreaux, let's see. Sunshine, would we have to pay him through that time? Probably, but you're talking about something that's negligible in the grand scheme, right? I guess my point is, I don't think that's the reason you do it now. Prorated salary over the 60, 90 days, whatever it would take to go through those, the allegations. Brandon, Matt, I appreciate your patience explaining your take of how LSU handled this. Woodward should hire you as a consultant. I don't want the job, but thank you. I guess LSU will not be getting a new arena. C-Mac, what's up, man? NOA says through 2020, safe to assume players on this year's teams potentially included in this. Maybe. I don't know that I would go that far, C-Mac, and I certainly wouldn't make that assumption. I mean, you could have been talking about some. I mean, well, I don't want to name names. It would be unfair to name names, but you can figure it out when you look at one and done or two and done guys that are now in the league. Let's see. Yeah, do me a favor, smash that like button. Still 198 watching on YouTube. That's awesome. So 78 likes. I think we can get that up. 143 on Facebook. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. By the way, if you'd be patient with me, I'm going to make it through all the comments. I mean, I'm going through doing the best I can to go back and forth. So I know a lot of y'all want to talk about this. I'm totally down to hang out and spend some time here. So thank you for that. If you could thank you for being patient with me, getting to everybody's comments. Of course, always shout out to Brock and to Hudco. Need orthopedics, go to Brock. Need roof, give us a shout at Hudco, HudcoRoofing.com. The Hudco link is pinned in the comments on both YouTube and Facebook. Jonathan Martin Scone, this is what bothers me, like the commentators and media are bagging more on LSU as if they were to investigate every other Power Five. Would you find something in every athletic program? Yeah, I mean, Jonathan, I think that's the big problem that fans have right now is the way that LSU was targeted in this. And look, I mean, the reason they were targeted is because your coach is on a federal wiretap, and LSU was defiant about it and retained him and just kept that target on their back. But yeah, I mean, of course you could find stuff at any school. That's what sucks anytime for any program that gets popped because of violations. Gonna have a new coach for basketball, football, baseball, all within a year. Crazy times, yeah. Keaton Berry and the football team must be protected. I'm excited. That video of him talking to the team after the last workout was awesome. Yeah, I don't doubt at all, Keaton. I don't know that we'll ever hear anyone at LSU formally say that. But again, I'll reiterate what I've been told too many times over the last 3 years, which is that basketball was likely going to be the sacrificial lamb for football. And if the NCAA wanted their pound of flesh with Will Wade, then LSU was going to give it to protect football. And again, you will never hear anybody associated with LSU say that publicly. There will never be an acknowledgement of that. But if you see a swift, abrupt end to the football case with minimal to no additional punishments on top of LSU self-imposed punishments, it's a pretty good indicator. Tracy Poole, good morning. Spurge, there has to be a reason for the timing. Will time tell? I think so. But I think we know it. Scott Woodward just wants to hire his own guy. Always has. And this was the open door opportunity. And that's fine. But again, don't lay out the reasons for the timing in that letter the way you did, because that's crap. LSU had to fire Wade after the latest move by the NCAA. Don't understand why folks are quibbling about wording from a termination letter, and the bad timing was from the NCAA, not LSU. So, but not exactly. LSU didn't have to fire Will Wade after the notice of allegations, because again, this is just a notice of allegations. And in the letter, LSU clearly states they're not accepting the allegations as an admittance of wrongdoing. So that's the problem. Like, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. And as I said earlier, yes, even with the timing, of course this was timing premeditated by the NCAA to do it exactly how they did. But even with that, LSU could have said, we're going to take some time to examine what's in the NOA, do our exhaustive investigation into what is alleged and what we can find, and make a decision based on that. And then a month, 4 weeks, 6 weeks down the road, 8 weeks down the road, they could have come to this still inevitable end. That wouldn't be the day before Selection Sunday. Again, I'm not absolving Will Wade. I am not sitting here saying Will Wade did nothing wrong, he got screwed. He's on a federal wiretap, okay? I'm not absolving him in any way. I just think the way that this was all handled was very, very poor. The NCAA's reasoning is obvious. LSU's is also obvious, but I think very poorly done. Rick Pitino's always up for a bigger job. Jared Hills, I think LSU rode with Wade as long as they could. Wade was sloppy and egotistical. That gave the administration no choice. I, again, agree, but they could have done this 3 years ago. That's the problem. Like, they could have done this 3 years ago. Talk to him, $. If we go mid-major, I'd love to see Furman head coach Bob Ritchie get the job. Born in New Orleans, young head coach. Good record in 5 years. Okay. Cortland, are they going to go after the school who offered the girlfriend the money to rat on LSU? You know, that's interesting. The blackmail the allegation. I mean, that's. I mean, that. I mean, that would be a criminal act. What we're talking about is just NCAA violations. That is like an allegation of criminal activity, of blackmail. I'll be interested. I don't think they will, but they could. Gangster paying players out of his bank account. It was sloppy, but I respect it. LOL. Damn a middleman. I mean, that's why I don't today. Like, I'm disappointed because I think Will's a good young coach. He was obviously recruiting at a great level. He's detail oriented. I got along with him well. I would have loved to have seen him stay here for a decade. It would have been awesome. But it's hard to feel sorry for him because the best coaches that cheat know how to do it. I mean, Nick Saban's. You think Nick Saban gets the best players just because he's Nick Saban? How do you think Kirby all of a sudden is pulling in top class after top class? How do you think Jimbo's doing it? They learn from the master. Nobody's going to rat anybody out. You got to know how to do it. Brett Daggero, I'd like to make a strong ass offer for a Hudco jingle. Okay, here you go, Brett.
When you need a roof, call someone you know. Scone and Ontario.
All you need is Hudco.
Call Hudco Roofing.
364.
1007.
Carrie said, hard to feel sorry for them. They've always done this. I know, Carrie, but the best ones that have done it for the longest time aren't so careless. That's the problem, right? That's the problem. It's not that they were doing it. It's how he did it. It was Will Wade's voice on a federal wiretap. The allegations that he was making payments out of his own personal checking account to players. Like, that's the problem. Eric Lemoyne, so no of this is Wade's fault. This is the hardest thing. Like, I feel like so many of you are only listening selectively. You're only hearing what you want to hear. And anything short of, damn Will Wade, he deserved to be fired, is not satisfactory. Like, I'm telling you, I'm okay with them firing Will. Like, I wish he would have stayed. I wish they would have kept him. I think everybody cheats. I don't care that anybody cheats. That's my own personal feeling. I like Will Wade. I think he's a good coach. All recruit good players, want to win, all that stuff. I don't care that he's on a wiretap, whatever. But I also understand that he's on a wiretap. There's allegations, and you're gonna fire him. Okay, fine. He was sloppy. His fault. He was sloppy. Fine. The problem that I have is the NCAA very clearly released the NOA 4 days before Selection Sunday. It's been 3 years. It's been 4 years, but 3 years since the wiretap was released. If in a 4-year investigation, you wait until we're finally ready. It's the week of Selection Sunday. Oh, crazy! Like, that's crap. And then LSU's reasoning for firing him today is crap. You could have fired him for the reasons LSU listed. You could have fired him at any point over the last 3 years. At any point. And because you didn't, it stands to reason, because you said in the letter that you're not accepting the allegations as an admission or as an acknowledgement of agreement, why not go through the process for another 4, 8, 12 weeks, whatever it is, to get all the information and then make your decision? Like, it's obvious. Like, the NCAA was trying to screw with LSU and Will Wade because of the timing. Scott Woodward was always going to fire Will as soon as he got an NOA. And if that's the case, fine. But like, the way that you present it to me, don't treat me like I'm an idiot. Like, we all get it. Just be honest. Just explain what happened. Let's see. Bearded Dragon, morning Matt. I'm late. Sorry if this was discussed. Is it true there's talks of stripping the 2019 title? No. Who the hell said that? Because Odell was paying players on the field after the game? Hell no. 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 Cortland would stun me as some of the violations took place after the investigation started. Do you think Will Wade's continued to get 5-star after 5-star after 5-star just because they're aching to come play at LSU? Come on, man. Trey Day, hard to imagine a new coach. I love Will Wade, but there's some good ones out there, and I look forward to giving the new guy a chance before I completely lose hope. Rough 20 hours or so. I would just like to point out, though, the massively disappointing part of this is today's Selection Sunday. Like, today we should be celebrating this team, be excited about what their draw is going to be, where they're going to go, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody cares. That's a gigantic issue where when you're Scott Woodward and William Tate, you say, we're doing the best interest of the student athletes. No, you're not. This is the worst thing for these guys that have worked so hard to put themselves in this position to play in an NCAA tournament, and you basically cut their legs out from under them the day before Selection Sunday. All right. AJ, good morning. Rob Boudreaux. Gerald Holmes. Hope LSU goes after Jerry Stackhouse. Why? He's done a terrible job. Cliff Nelson, let's be clear. Wade is an excellent recruiter, but as an in-game coach, not so much. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Oliva choose Wade over Musselman? Yeah. I don't know that I would agree with you so much, Cliff. I think Will is a very good strategist. The in-game coach thing or criticism, like, I think he's done what he can with his talent. And the thing that people completely have lost about this team is you lost Adam Miller. Like, that's a massive deal. Take Jabari Smith off of Auburn. What are they? I mean, you can't take the best player off a team and not expect it to affect. The fact that without Adam Miller, they've done what they've done this year is incredible. So I push back on that, man. The whole Will's not an in-game coach, not next. Like, I think sometimes like people throw that out. There are a few people better at drawing up sideline, out of bounds plays, start of a half, like drawing up a play to get a good look at a bucket. I think Will's a really detail-oriented coach. I think he's a very good coach. I mean, I just think that's become a convenient. I just think that's just a convenient argument by fans about Wade, and I just don't think it's true. I mean, in a continuous flow sport, continuous action sport. sometimes you got to trust your players to be smart. Like, if you're coming down and you're going to set up in the half court, and a guy that's not a three-point shooter has a look and decides I'm going to throw it up there, well, that's a wasted possession. I mean, a coach can hammer that into his players' minds all he wants, but like if Xavier Pinson goes down and shoots a three and bricks it, you're going to pull Xavier Pinson out the game. It's your starting point guard. We saw what happened when Pinson got hurt. I mean, the fact that you didn't have Miller this year, and then you missed Pinson for a chunk in the middle of SEC play, it's remarkable that they are where they are, I think. Bill Gallion, what's going on, man? Mickey, Amy, Duncan, was Wade NIL before NIL? Everyone's getting paid. Who cares? I agree, Mickey. I mean, I don't care at all. I mean, I'm probably the most extreme when it comes to the paying players type stuff. I literally don't care. I mean, with the NIL, I've said for years, open the floodgates. I don't care. Like, let them get what they can get. I'm completely fine with it. Let's see, Kyle DeVille. Had we fired Will Wade, say 2 years ago, do you think it would have impacted the direction of the NCAA Wolves? Yeah, absolutely. This would be over. Watford's brother went on Twitter saying Will Wade was a gentleman, never paid his brother. Then when you click the comments, it's all about, well, damn, your brother got screwed. Jared Bordelon. Chance Babin. Good news is you can build a team back fast with the transfer portal. Yeah, but the other thing, Chance, is you got to keep in mind, man, you don't know what sanctions could be coming, which makes it more difficult to recruit. Like, let's say LSU does get a postseason ban. LSU basketball gets a postseason ban. How do you recruit kids to a place when they know they can't make the postseason? It's tough. Caleb going throwback with the Super Bowl shirt. Yeah, man. I love it. Craig said, what time is the selection show and what are you predicting? I think LSU will be a 6. It's at 5 o'clock Central. 5 o'clock Central. I think LSU will be a 6 seed. You said 7 and you're probably right. They'll probably knock LSU down a peg, but I think it's 6. Hey, babe. Good. It's only 9:30. They said lunchtime. I know. She said lunchtime. Erica, everyone is dying to know your thoughts on Will Wade getting fired. They can't hear you over there. You have to. Okay. You gonna make a mimosa or something? You said you need something to drink. Michael Lambert, you think the punishment will be worse since they didn't fire Wade 3 years ago? The punishment, Michael, would be worse if they don't cooperate. So that's the key. If LSU is cooperating with the NCAA, in theory, it shouldn't be bad, but it probably will be anyway. Crazy times, bowl game with 38 players, interim coach, now the NCAA tournament with an interim coach. Brian Champagne, think football will suffer from all of this? Brian, I might be naive, man. I think this was done in part to spare football. I think the case on football was about to be closed. Like the 7-year investigation was done. And then Odell pulled his stunt at the national championship game, which kept dragging it along. And I think the NCAA used football as leverage to ultimately peg basketball. So maybe I'm naive, but I will be curious to see what, if anything else, the NCAA adds. Because if you don't know, like, schools can self-impose punishments, and then the NCAA can either accept those punishments or add on to them. So LSU football self-imposed scholarship restrictions, limited visits, and all that sort of stuff, and then the postseason ban in 2020 where they didn't go to the bowl game. So we'll see if the NCAA accepts that or adds on to it. Kyle DeVille, his own checking account. Did he claim the payments on his taxes? If he's smart, he would. Got to offset that $2.5 million. Craig, I guess it's time for me to say it. We are no longer a basketball school, boss. I'm not sure we ever were, Craig, but yeah. Huey, we're all in agreement. Wade was the sacrificial lamb to save football. That's certainly, I think we agree with that. But Huey, I also believe that Scott Woodward, look at Scott's track record. He wants to bring in his own coach in every sport. He wants the athletic department remade in his image. And it's obvious what's happening. Dax Jeter, you said yesterday Wade was salvageable. What do you think? No, let me be clear. Meaning if they wanted to keep him. When I said Wade was salvageable, my point was if they wanted to keep him, there was a path to do so. The NCAA can't tell a school whether or not they should fire a coach. That's not the NCAA's role or place. And I pointed out three examples. Bruce Pearl at Auburn, Bill Self at Kansas, Sean Miller at Arizona. All three of those programs were involved in the same FBI investigation that led to an NCAA investigation as a result. And all three of those coaches kept their jobs. And Sean Miller has since been fired, but not because of the allegations, because they stunk on the floor. So my point is, there was a path. If they wanted to keep Will Wade, they could have kept Will Wade. Scott Woodward didn't want to. He wanted to bring in his own coach. Okay, he's the AD. He can certainly do that. I don't like the path he chose. Tommy Prohaska, let's get rid of the program, add wrestling. Yeah, I mean, good and well, you're not. There are two programs that make money. It's football and men's basketball. And baseball, breaks even or makes a little bit of money at LSU. I don't think they're going to get rid of the second largest moneymaker. Daniel Sinets, good morning. Dustin Cruel. Robbie Welburn. Crazy coach replacement idea. How about Cavs assistant Lindsey Gottlieb? Cavs look really good for how young they are. Just off the hip idea. I'll be curious what direction Scott goes, but we all know his MO, right? I mean, he's going to target big names, but who will want this job? It is a I mean, this will be a very tough sell, y'all. This really is going to be a tough sell. Zion gets a car and a home for his parents, and nothing happens. Yeah. If you know how to play the game. By the way, when I said the time for I know it's 10:30. It's 10:30. I know it's 10:30. She was saying Drew's still sleeping. His body clock, it's only 9:30. So that's why. But yes, I know it's yes, it is 10:30 a.m. We sprung forward. I'm aware. It's 10:30. I know. I was joking, but more talking about his body clock. Edward Cooper, Matt, never was a fan of Will Wade. Lied and cheated his way to the top. Edward, I don't know how he lied. I don't know that I agree with that. But the cheated part, that's literally every major program, without exception. It's how it's done. I mean, look at the FBI investigation. I mean, it's literally how it's done everywhere. What bourbon has the black label on it, third shelf gold lettering? Oh, those are all my Wellers. So that's the black is Weller 12. So Special Reserve, Antique 107, 12 CYPB single barrel. So all the different Wellers have a different color label. So that's Weller 12 is the black. Will be interesting if this team makes a small run, wins 2 to 3 games. I don't see it. Yes, it would be awesome. I don't see it. Lance Hill Kelly doesn't come here if he knew LSU football was in trouble. That's fair. I think that's fair. Paul Hollowell, it'll be 3 or 4 years before people care about basketball. Paul, a new coach always injects some type of life because it's sort of the hope springs eternal type deal. So, and there's always a curiosity. So when there's a new coach, there's always going to be interest. So let's wait and see who the new coach is. But when there are and will inevitably be some type of sanctions on the program, it's going to affect stuff. The water's going to get choppier because you're going to lose players, you're going to lose recruits, you're going to have to rebuild it. It's going to be different. Shelly Melanson, kudos to softball for knocking off previous unbeaten Alabama yesterday. Had a babe, Shelly. Love the positive vibes, man. That's true. How about Beth Torina and the squad yesterday? I'm for it. Ryan Thibodeau, what's up? A good general delegates his lieutenants to do the dirty work. Wade said, screw that, hold my beer. Kind of. Let's see. Baylor got good coaches after worse scandals in football and men's basketball. But remember, Baylor hired Scott Drew from Valpo, so they went small. And Penn State is a blue blood in football, and they got Bill O'Brien. It took a special type of person that wanted that challenge. And someone will take obviously someone is going to take the job. But our expectation of Woodward has been Jay Johnson, Kim Mulkey, Brian Kelly. I don't know how that's possible with this. Anyway. Let's see. All right, y'all. We might be just about to wrap this thing up. Get a few more here on YouTube. Again, as always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. You need an orthopedic, go to Brock. You need a roof, give us a shout at Hudco. If you would, smash that like button. 205 watching on YouTube, 101 on the likes. If you could just take a quick second, smash the like button. Let me get to some more of your comments here on the YouTuber. I would also remind you, been doing this every day. I'll remind you again because I know we got a lot of new people. Ya boy was nominated for Best of 225, Best Radio Personality. If you care to vote, it would be awesome. You don't need to be in Baton Rouge, you just need an email address to be able to vote. So I just posted the link there in the comments. So if you want to, click the Best 225 link and vote for Ya boy, and then vote for 1045 ESPN for Best Radio Station. That'd be awesome. Appreciate y'all. Let's see. John Melanson, thoughts on Buzz Williams? Buzz has, obviously he's got A&M in the SEC championship game today, but he's not done a great job at A&M. So I don't know that that's a route I would want to go. And I know Woodward hired him there, but I don't know that he's leaving there. How will Jackson Carter, how will LSU fans look at Will Wade 10 years from now? Let's see what happens with the program. If the program nosedives over the next decade, there'll probably be a lot of pissed off people like, why couldn't you just have done it? PP said it'll be as bad as Brady's first 2 years once the sanctions hit. Could be. It very well could be. Bring Dale Brown out of retirement. Let's see. Hunter Fournette, Dustin Fontenot. Hire Kim for the men's job. She could do it. Let's see. Let's see. Matt says it took 3 years because Wade didn't cooperate. So that's not true. Wade did meet NCAA investigators. If you remember, if you go back 3 years, he didn't initially, because, and this was, again, why Joe Oliva is the worst athletic director ever. Joe Oliva wanted Will Wade to meet with not only NCAA investigators, but with FBI investigators without an attorney present. And Will refused. That's why Will refused, because they weren't going to let him have an attorney present. When he was able to seek legal counsel and have an attorney present, then he met with the NCAA, with the FBI, and they did cooperate. And LSU has cooperated. Patrick Dorsey, back to band members playing basketball. Old Andrew Del Piero, yeah. That's interesting. Murder Giraffe, I wonder how much overlap there is with the give Reggie Bush his Heisman back and the fire Will Wade crowds. It's funny, right? Same people. Goes back to something I said a little bit ago, man. It's crazy because if there's one universal commonality among all fan bases, is that we all hate the NCAA. All of us. Everybody hates the NCAA, no matter if you're a fan of LSU or Georgia or Southern Cal or Washington or Maine or Ohio State or Valpo. Everybody hates the NCAA. Everybody. But when the NCAA pegs somebody, everybody, opposing fan bases, all turn and side with the NCAA and point at the school and say, cheater. Careful pointing them fingers, man. Got 3 more pointing back at you. Yeah, anyway. Oh, Christian Brown said, off topic, where's the GameCoin logo? Always had it in the background. It's on my desk now. I had it up there, but it was blocking the Burrow football. I need to find so I just have it like on the corner of my desk now. But I need to find you're right, I do need to find a place for it. Very excited. Got an exciting dinner tomorrow with, there's a lot of exciting stuff with GameCoin right now. The whole platform's coming along awesome. We should have our first NFTs should be live here in a few weeks, and it's looking like the entirety of the platform will be ready by the end of Q2, beginning of Q3. So sometime late summer, the entirety of the platform will be live, and we are getting a lot of very, very, very exciting calls from people in the crypto space about GameCoin. If y'all been patient, keep being patient. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. Okay. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. Alan Hulk. Thanks, man. Said he voted for best 225. Appreciate that. Okay. Coach K would look good in purple and gold. All right, y'all. I think we are done. Hi, Gordy Rush. How do you like the chairs in the ESPN studio? You're welcome. Gordy. Oh, Gordy, Erica said hi. The chairs in the ESPN studio. Absolute abomination, by the way. Ryan Clark was in studio on Thursday, sat in the chair, and after about 10 seconds, literally, we're on air, just stood up and moved the chair out of the way. He's like, man, this chair's all jacked up. Swear to God. It's on video. You can go see it if you want. Embarrassing. Gaudy. Gaudy, give me an apple fritter. All right. Eugene Sutherland loved the t-shirt, so might as well. Who dat? Forever. All right, y'all. I think we're done. Selection Sunday, 5 o'clock. We'll find out where the Tigers will be dancing. Looking forward to that, even amid all of the stuff involving Wade. Baseball goes for the sweep today at 1 o'clock against Bethune-Cookman. Mikhail Hilliard's going to get the start. So a lot of good stuff today to keep it on, even in spite of what happened yesterday. So, okay, that'll be it for us, man. Y'all have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button on your way out. Facebook, please like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post. We appreciate y'all. And as always, a super duper thanks to Brock and Hudco. Need an orthopedist, go to Brock. Need a roof, give us a shout. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Clayton Knight wants the Hudco jingle on the way out. You know what, Clayton? Ask and you shall receive.
When you need a roof, call someone you know. Scone, Ontario.
All you need is Hudco.
Call Hudco Roofing.
364.
1007.
All right. Y'all have a great day. Peace.